leadership skills, and group collaboration. So as I mentioned, it is designed for students from all majors to learn, grow, and collaborate together and internationally. I think we've had so far over almost 40 majors, definitely over 30 majors represented in this program. The program includes special classes, special courses that are developed for this program, that are fine-tuned courses that are actually that are essential studies courses, so general education courses. So the students progress in their regular curriculum at the university towards the degree, but through this program as well. Includes workshops, leadership workshops, includes special lectures. Travel includes several travel opportunities, several study abroad opportunities for the students, some short term, some longer term, semester abroad, and includes a collaborative approach to some of our partners outside of the US, but also collaboration between these students that are from different majors and different colleges. So students, it's a cohort program. Students learn, travel, and collaborate together throughout these 4 years. And we often hear that this cohort, this group is really their anchor throughout the 4 years. These are students who rely on each other, who go back to getting in touch with each other, even when they're not doing certain components for the programs as a cohort, which is great to hear, and it's one of the goals for the program as well. It is also a capstone-based program into 4th year, and they end with the capstone project, which is the global collaboration project. And obviously this presentation that the 4 of the students will do today as their last component of the program, and that they will showcase here today, is really a part, the capstone-based part of the program. Next slide. So we have a short video that will now play about the Global Engagement Program with a short and quick explanation, very visual explanation about what the program really aims to.
Sorry about that. I'll bring that back up.
So as we mentioned, this is not a major, not a minor, not a certificate. It is a skills program. This is really what we're trying to work on with our students and the several faculty members who work in this program, also faculty members from different backgrounds, different colleges, and different areas. So it's a truly interdisciplinary program in every sense of the way, not only in terms of the students coming from different backgrounds, but the different faculty and even staff involved in the program coming from different departments, colleges, and other units on campus. This is also a program that aligns with the Sustainable Development Goals. The issues that we address in the program are connected with the Sustainable Development Goals. And I won't say more about the SDGs and internationalization because my educated guess is that our keynote speaker might touch on this topic, because I know it's also one of her passions. Next slide. Now, a couple of words about the Global Partnership Showcase. This is an initiative we started at the Haneke Institute for Global Education, which is the international office at Western Michigan University, to expand, enhance, and showcase existing new potential international partner agreements with collaborations between faculty, staff, and students. We have these virtual GPS, we call the GPS, the Global Partnership Showcase. These GPS sessions, we have about 10 or 12 GPS sessions throughout the year that display collaborations we already have between partners, but also in some cases they are the first approach to developing a partnership between our university and other universities around the world. And we have events, GPS events that range from research collaborations or promotional webinars, conferences, and for instance today this event that showcases different approaches, creative approaches to partnerships and how partnerships can infuse education through global education approaches. We also have not only researchers, faculty, staff, students, but also alumni, which is a very important part of the GPS, is to bring our alumni, our international alumni that are everywhere in the world, to collaborate with us in partnership development. As I mentioned, we have three of our dear partner universities here today with us. We have Universidad Iberoamerican-UNIBE from the Dominican Republic, a university that I've collaborated with for many years, and we have a really strong partnership with UNIBE. We have the University Institute of Lisbon, the Iscte Business School from Portugal, and a more recent partnership, but a very strategic partnership in terms of the location, the nature of Iscte in terms of the areas that represents, and also a partnership that has very quickly yielded very good results. And I want to say hi to Diane Oliveira here, who was just recently a wonderful host in our recent visit to Iscte. And we have GIMBA, the CSKM Global Learning Center, a partnership that started also a few years ago, not long ago, but a few years ago, and that resulted in a joint program, an MBA between Taiwan and Western Michigan University through the CSKM Global Learning Center and the partner university also in Taiwan. And we have been delivering this MBA, Western Michigan University MBA in Taiwan, which is also an amazing new or more recent initiative that we started. We have these three partner institutions today that we're very, very happy and very grateful for their collaboration today. And that takes me to our keynote speaker of today, Dr. Jewell Green. Dr. Jewell Green has an extensive CV and brilliant resume. It would take probably the 3 hours of our conference today to be able to be fair and cover all the amazing achievements that Dr. Jewell Green has in her career. She has over 35 years of experience in education, and she provides the leadership for the Office of International Affairs at Tennessee State University as their Senior International Officer, Chief Diversity Officer, and also Assistant Professor in the Department of Educational Leadership. Dr. Winn holds a Doctorate of Education, a Master of Public Administration, and a Bachelor of Business Administration degrees. She's a strong advocate for women and has a passion for underrepresented groups. She has led many initiatives, not only at her university, but also at other associations of higher education and of international education throughout the years, and her commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion is known by so many of us in U.S. higher education and in international, global higher education. More recently, she became the president of the Association of International Education Administrators, and a global association of institutions of higher education and other institutions that work with higher education. And we are so happy and grateful for having Dr. Winn here today. Her remarks are entitled Know Your Why, a University Call to Action. And with no further ado, I'd like to give the virtual mic to Dr. Winn. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it, and I'm so excited to have you here. It's always great to see you.
It's good to see you as well. Thank you so much, and greetings to everyone. I am so honored to be a part of this very impressive program. To the students, you have taken relevant courses together, studied abroad together, and collaboratively worked on a final project that allows you to share your individual expertise and experiences from your various disciplines. To the faculty, it is clear that you have provided meaningful pedagogy to prepare these young scholars for global leadership. And to the staff, your support is unequivocally needed in ways that is often unseen, but definitely appreciated. Before I proceed further with my address today, I wish to do what I do every day when I'm given an opportunity to rise and give thanks, is to acknowledge my ancestors, especially those who were enslaved but persevered to build community and a culture that struggled for years to be treated equally and provide opportunities for people like me who are proud to stand before you and say, I am an African American that comes to you from the ancestral lands of the Cherokee East, the Shawanwaki Shawnee, and the Sasto Yohayuchi. I humbly express gratitude to the stewards of these lands, past, present, and future. Over 30 years ago, and I don't mean to tell my age because I hope I don't look like it, there was this really cool late night show hosted by a comedian who had skits throughout the show. And the skit would conclude with him pointing to his head and say, makes you want to go, Well, that saying became very popular and was used by many people, especially if the situation was confusing, questionable, and even downright unbelievable. And as I think about, ladies and gentlemen, what we have been facing as a global society lately, it makes me want to go, We have lived through some very uncertain and challenging times in the past. But for me, it seems that everything is happening at once. It could be because I'm a little older and wiser, but it just seems so hard. Racial justice issues continue to surface, creating a division in the United States that I haven't seen since the Civil Rights Movement. Climate change discussions are still considered a stalemate. Border control and immigration issues spark tense debates, increase in gun violence, and of course, the pandemic. And while many of these issues seem specific to the United States, no country is immune to the challenges that threaten the core fabric of its society, such as the unprovoked and unnecessary war in Ukraine. Challenges seem so insurmountable, and there doesn't seem to be a solution. It just makes you want to go, And as I think about how my team followed my lead through these last 2 challenging years, I am reminded of my purpose, my why. As president of the Association of International Education Administrators, called AIEA, I presented my vision to the board of directors and was then reminded of my why. I am a servant leader, and leadership is a privilege to serve. Leadership is about inspiring others to believe and turning that belief into reality, a reality that transcends all doubt. A reality, unfortunately, over the last few years has been a whirlwind of change and unpredictability. However, through our words and actions, we can become hope and a model for others. I was browsing the websites of the universities that are represented in this program, and I found some powerful statements. First of all, at Western, you can seek a deeper understanding of who you are and who you're meant to become. Beyond book smarts, your potential lies in your pursuit of purpose. Another one of the institutions says they're recognized for excellence in learning, excellence in research, international and multicultural environment, strong connection to the business environment, exceptional placement of graduates, leadership and entrepreneurship, and innovation. Keywords that came to mind when I was reading these statements were purpose, excellence, leadership, and wait for it, sustainability. So you might ask, how did you come up with sustainability out of any of that? Makes you want to go, Well, I'm glad you asked. When I was first introduced to the United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda, I was very curious. I had worked to develop an environmentally sustainable project on campus many years ago with a colleague, as we wanted to be intentional about recycling and saving the environment. But the UN's agenda was much more. So I researched a simple definition of sustainability. Here it is. Sustainability means meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. That was deep to me. It made me want to go, Each one of the statements I read that I just mentioned at the end of the day spoke to this very simple definition. The UN Sustainable Development Goals are our blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. They address the global challenges we face, the challenges I spoke to earlier. But it takes a visionary, a servant leader to lead the charge and use the blueprint to make a difference. It all becomes a universal call to action. Now, before you can act, you must know who you are and you must know your why. According to Western, once again, you can seek a deeper understanding of who you are and who you're meant to become. You can develop an inaugural Office of International Affairs at a mid-sized Research 2 institution and lead comprehensive internationalization that the majority of the campus hadn't heard of over a decade ago. You can become the first African American female president of a global organization. When you know your why, you can make a difference and lead others to work with you despite the doubt, despite the size of the challenge, and despite the resistance to change. We, ladies and gentlemen, and young scholars, are an interconnected human family, as one writer claimed. We must do something. We must continue to research global issues and develop strategic global partnerships. Initiatives such as this global engagement program is necessary, and I must again commend you all for this intentional commitment to internationalization. As I look at the 17 goals from a faculty perspective, I think about the massive amount of content that could be built around each of these goals. From a personal perspective, I think about the simple things could be done to make a difference, such as community campaigns, social media campaigns, just basic awareness initiatives. Many times, ladies and gentlemen, we don't know what we don't know. So I want you to indulge me as we take a look at the goals as presented on the website and attempt to understand the why for each one. Goal 1, no poverty. In 2015, more than 700 million people, or 10% of the world population, lived in extreme poverty, struggling to fulfill the most basic needs like health, education, and access to water and sanitation. The COVID-19 pandemic is reversing the trend of poverty reduction, with tens of millions of people in risk of being pushed back into extreme poverty. People living on less than, can you believe, $1.90 a day, causing the first increase in global poverty in more than 20 years. Goal 2, zero hunger. Extreme hunger and malnutrition remains a barrier to sustainable development and creates a trap from which people cannot easily escape. Hunger and malnutrition mean less productive individuals who are more prone to disease and thus often unable to earn more and improve their livelihoods. 2 billion people in the world do not have regular access to safe, nutritious, and sufficient food. In 2019, 144 million children under the age of 5 were stunted, and 47 million were affected by waste. Goal 3, good health and well-being. Ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being is important to building prosperous societies. Most countries, especially poor countries, have insufficient health facilities, medical supplies, and healthcare workers for the surge in demand. The pandemic has shown that in rich and poor countries alike, a health emergency can push people into bankruptcy or poverty. Healthy people are the foundation for healthy economies. Less than half of the global population is covered by essential health services. Quality education, of course, something that should be near and dear to all of our hearts. Education enables upward socioeconomic mobility and is a key to escaping poverty. Over the past decade, major progress was made towards increasing access to education and school enrollment rates at all levels, particularly for girls. Nevertheless, about 260 million children were out of school in 2018, nearly 1/5 of the global population in that age group. And more than half of all children and adolescents worldwide are not meeting minimum proficiency standards in reading and mathematics. That is startling. By April 2020, close to 1.6 billion children and youth were out of school, and nearly 369 million children who rely on school meals needed to look to other sources for daily nutrition. Gender equality goal 5. Women and girls represent half of the world's population and therefore also half of its potential. But today, gender equality persists everywhere and stagnates social progress. Women continue to be underrepresented at all levels of political leadership. Across the globe, women and girls perform a disproportionate share of unpaid domestic work. Inequalities faced by girls can begin right at birth and follow them all of their lives. In some countries, girls are deprived of access to care or proper nutrition, leading to a higher mortality rate. Goal 6, clean water and sanitation. Access to water, sanitation, and hygiene is a human right. The demand for water has outpaced population growth, and half the world's population is already experiencing severe water scarcity at least 1 month a year. Water is essential not only to health, but also to poverty reduction, food security, peace and human rights, ecosystems, and education. Nevertheless, countries face growing challenges linked to water scarcity, water pollution, degraded water-related ecosystems, and cooperation over transboundary water basins. Goal 6, affordable and clean energy. A well-established energy system supports all sectors, from businesses, medicine, and education to agriculture, infrastructure, communications, and high technology. Access to electricity in poor countries has begun to accelerate. Energy efficiency continues to improve, and renewable energy is making impressive gains. Nevertheless, more focused attention is needed to improve access to clean and safe cooking fuels and technologies for 2.8 billion people. Decent work and economic growth is goal 8. Sustained and inclusive economic growth can drive progress, create decent jobs for all, and improve living standards. Even before the outbreak of COVID-19, 1 in 5 countries, home to billions of people living in poverty, were likely to see per capita incomes decline. Now the economic and financial shocks associated with the pandemic, such as disruptions to industrial production, financial market volatility, and rising insecurity, are derailing the already tepid economic growth and compounding heightened risk from other factors. Goal 9. Industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Economic growth, social development, and climate action are heavily dependent on investments in infrastructure, sustainable industrial development, and technological progress. In the face of a rapidly changing global economic landscape and increasing inequalities, sustained growth must include industrialization that, first of all, makes opportunities accessible to all people, and second, is supported by innovation and resilient infrastructure. Goal 10, reduced inequalities. Inequalities based on income, sex, age, disability, sexual orientation, race, class, ethnicity, religion, and opportunity continue to persist across the world, unfortunately. Inequality threatens long-term social and economic development. It harms poverty reduction and destroys people's sense of fulfillment and self-worth. This in turn can breed crime, disease, and environmental degradation. We cannot achieve sustainable development and make the planet better for all if people are excluded from the chance for a better life. And despite some positive signs, inequality is growing for more than 70% of the global population, exacerbating the risk of divisions and hampering economic and social development. COVID-19 is hitting the most vulnerable part of the hardest, and those same groups are often experiencing increased discrimination. Goal 11, sustainable cities. Over 90% of COVID-19 cases are occurring in urban areas, with the 1 billion residents of the world's densely populated slums being hit the hardest. Even before the coronavirus, rapid urbanization meant that 4 billion people, over half of the global population in the world's cities, faced worsening air pollution, inadequate infrastructure and services, and unplanned urban sprawl. Goal 12, economic and social progress over the last century has been accompanied by environmental degradation that is endangering the very systems on which our future development and very survival depend. COVID-19 offers an opportunity to develop recovery plans that will reverse current trends and shift our consumption and production patterns to a more sustainable course. A successful transition will mean improvements in resource energy, efficiency, consideration of the entire life cycle of economic activities, and active engagement in multilateral environmental agreements. Goal 13, climate action. The climate crisis continues unabated as the global community shies away from the full commitment required for its reversal. 2010 to 2019 was the warmest decade ever recorded, bringing with it massive wildfires, hurricanes, droughts, floods, and other climate disasters across continents. Goal 14, life below water. Oceans are our planet's life support and regulate the global climate system. They are the world's largest ecosystem, home to nearly 1 million known species and containing vast untapped potential for scientific discovery. Oceans and fisheries continue to support the global population's economic, social, and environmental needs. Despite the critical importance of conserving oceans, decades of irresponsible exploitation have led to an alarming level of degradation. Current efforts to protect key marine environments and small-scale fisheries and to invest in ocean science are not yet meeting the urgent need to safeguard this vast yet fragile resource. Life on Land Goal 15. Almost through these 17 goals. Forests cover nearly 31% of our planet's land area. From the air we breathe to the water we drink to the food we eat, forests sustain us. Forests are home to more than 80% of all terrestrial species of animals, plants, and insects. However, biodiversity is declining faster than at any other time in human history. Globally, 1/5 of the Earth's land area, more than 2 billion hectares, are degraded, an area nearly the size of India and the Russian Federation combined. Land degradation is undermining the well-being of some 3.2 billion people, driving species to extinction and intensifying climate change. Biodiversity and the ecosystem services it underpins can also be the basis for climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction strategies, as they can deliver benefits that will increase the resilience of people to the impact of climate change. Goal 16, one of my favorites. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. People everywhere need to be free of fear from all forms of violence and feel safe as they go about their lives, whatever their ethnicity, faith, or sexual orientation. Conflict, insecurity, weak institutions, and limited access to justice remains threats to sustainable development. In 2019, the number of people fleeing war, persecution, and conflict exceeded 79.5 million, the highest level ever recorded. 1 in 4 children continues to be deprived of legal identity through lack of birth registration, often limiting their ability to exercise rights in other areas. The COVID-19 pandemic threatens to amplify and exploit fragilities across the globe. And finally, Goal 17, partnerships. In light of the consequences of COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen that strengthening multilateralism and global partnerships are more important than ever if we are to solve the world's problems. The Sustainable Development Goals remain the framework for building back better. We need everyone to come together: governments, civil society, scientists, academia, and the private sector. So, you can imagine when I first introduced all of these goals to my team, they were overwhelmed. They began to give me feedback on how or where we could begin to take on something of this magnitude. Of course, I put my finger to my head and it made me want to go, I thought to myself, I am a senior international officer with years of experience as a leader who has never backed down from a challenge, and now my team is challenging me. Together, we had grown our international student population by 800% in 2 years. We had doubled the number of students studying abroad in 1 year. We won 2 international awards consecutively in 2 years, and they couldn't figure out how to address not one of these goals. I was confused, disappointed, and began to question my why at that point. I ended the meeting. I told them, go study these goals. Go read every last one of them 3 and 4 times. I want you to click on the narrative of each one of these goals, and we will reconvene in a week. I assured them that I would listen to understand and not to react to them. I needed their buy-in to make this initiative work. I needed them to trust me for the vision, and I needed to be trustworthy. Now, I had been diving deep into the goals longer than they had, so I knew pretty much what I wanted us to align our strategic plan to, but naturally as a leader, I wanted their feedback and various perspectives. I let about a week go by before I called them back into the meeting, and I could sense something different about their demeanor overall, but I was anxiously waiting to hear. It made me want to go, As an avid follower of Gary Burnison with Korn Ferry, I want to share this with you. Distrust erodes, but trust restores. So what does it take to convey assurance and instill confidence? It starts with trust. Think about it. Distrust erodes everything it touches, but trust restores everything it encounters. To trust another person, there needs to be a two-way contract of sorts, based on promise and follow through. Trustworthiness is the other side of the coin to become worthy of others' trust. After all, for people to accept our help, we cannot merely declare ourselves trustworthy. Words alone won't suffice. Far more important are our actions and how others experience them. This push and pull, yin and yang world can isolate us at times, but that should not insulate us from the needs of others. Indeed, the grace that we give, the help that turns to hope and encouragement that empowers, assures us that we're never alone. Gary Burnison is one of my favorites. So this was eye-opening for me. My team shared their enthusiasm and commitment to support 3 of the SDGs the first year and add at least 1 a year moving forward. They trusted me. They knew my why, and I then realized theirs. Ladies and gentlemen and young scholars, I strongly believe that we were not put on this earth to just live in a bubble and only be concerned about ourselves and those closest to us. As stated earlier, we are a human family. Under most circumstances, families help each other, don't they? As simple as that sounds, we must use our knowledge, skills, and abilities gained through our education, our jobs, our networks, etc., to reimagine and reshape the future. This outstanding program that you're a part of and many others like it are preparing the next generation of global leaders. Higher education must provide viable bridges between societies and nations, as there will be a constant flow of people across those bridges, as I heard a president say the other day. Associations such as our beloved AIEA is being innovative in bringing these types of issues to surface. The association provides a wide range of opportunities to explore global challenges and local challenges simultaneously through intentional global partnerships. They are reimagining how to deal with deep inequities through the launch of justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion initiatives. Research activities are being repurposed by increasing the involvement of doctoral students interested in addressing global issues through their research. International education leaders are being brought into dialogue with each other, their counterparts around the world, organizations that promote international education, and organizations concerned with the shaping and management of international higher education. As a campus, and there are 3 or 4 on this webinar, you must know your purpose. As an individual, and there are several here, you must know your why. Find your roots. Step outside of your comfort zone. Travel to a country that intrigues you. Learn a new language. Eat different food. Try fasting. Whatever it is, do it so that you can be prepared to act. As Nelson Mandela stated, it always seems impossible until it's done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jewell Winn. It is always a pleasure to hear your inspirational remarks, and in this particular case, to remind us of how interconnected we are and how our action has to be aligned and coordinated towards our future that is, in fact, the same, and it's the result of our action. This is so well aligned with the global engagement program and everything that, you know, the narrative the narrative that frames the global engagement program, and the narrative that actually triggered the global engagement program itself, and also the Global Partnership Showcase and the fact that today we have 4 different countries represented here. And as you mentioned, many, several young scholars who are essential to the needs and the goals and aspirations that you talked about. I would like to give our young scholars here and faculty and staff from our 4 universities to ask any questions to our keynote speaker. And if you'd like to do so, you can either raise your hand by the hand icon on the bottom of your WebEx screen, or you can also unmute yourself and ask a question. I just ask you to, before you ask your question, just to identify yourselves and say your name and institution so that we all know. So I'll wait a little bit here. You can also write down questions on the chat and I can ask them to our keynote speaker. So I'll give just a few seconds here to see if we have questions.
Maybe it's
while we wait.
Or maybe it's too late.
And while we wait on questions and don't be shy. That's what we're here for, is to interact. I take the advantage of being kind of the chair of the session here, and I would actually ask you a question while we wait for others. You mentioned that your team was somewhat that they didn't see exactly immediately how they would connect the goals and the activity of an international office to these so much broader, seemingly overwhelming goals that we have for humanity, which in fact is the very nature of international education. That's why we're all here for, is due to this interconnectedness. What do you think was the click? What do you think was the trigger that made them that changed their view regarding how their different activity in terms of study abroad programs and international admissions and international partnerships and other initiatives we have, global learning? What was the trigger for all of them, if it was the same trigger or different triggers for different people in your team, that immediately kind of made them realize, yes, this is in fact something that we want to do, that we need to do? What changed the view? Because I so often hear the same thing about these goals. They're just, they're, what's our contribution? This is, we're talking about such a massive goal in terms of what it needs to be accomplished, or an aspiration that is so, at times, as I mentioned, overwhelming. How can you make people believe that although the aspiration is overwhelming, their contribution is significant?
That is a great question. So as a leader, I'm a storyteller, right? So I like to tell stories and use a lot of examples and add humor. And even when things seem really, really bad, I will try to twist it to make it seem like, okay, even though it's bad, we can find a way around this. I had them to look at the video, and I don't know if some of the people on the call have had an opportunity to view the UN's website. It is amazing. There's so many resources there. And again, because I spend a lot of time on the website, I was able to find like infographics. I was able to find videos. One of the very compelling videos had actors doing narratives about some of the goals. And I think what happened for, at least for one of the guys, they said the video is what spoke to them. Some people are more visual learners than others. And when they listen to these actors who they see on TV and all over media and social media, they're like, wow, this is an actor that's actually getting into sustainable development goals. I'm like, yes, because it is going to take all of us. This is not a political initiative. This is not an academic initiative. This is something that impacts all of us. And so for him, it was making that connection to people that he never would have thought would think of anything like this. Another one of the persons in our office, because we were going through a strategic plan development, I was asking him to just go out and Google something about one of the goals. Just Google it and see what comes up. And I said, tell me how you think that aligns to something you do every day in your life. So he was talking about, I think it was the water quality. And we started talking about the issue in Michigan, right? So that's something right here in our, in our United States of America. And I'm like, okay, so imagine what happened here in Michigan, in one of the states in the United States. Imagine that happening all around the world. Can you imagine people not being able to drink good water? Can you imagine getting up in the morning wanting to take a pill for your headache and you can't drink the water? I said something as simple as that, and I'm not trying to minimize any of the goals, but you have to look at it not from such a big perspective, an overwhelming perspective, and look at it how it touches you personally, because every single one of those can impact you personally. If you have children in school and you go to school and you take your kids to school and you see that there are kids that are hungry that are coming to school, why did the United States come up with the free lunch program? Why? So all of the things that we're dealing with on a personal level, we need to kind of take a step back and look at it that way, use that lens, rather than trying to just look at the sustainable development goals. It's such an overwhelming type of initiative. So I think that's what helped them.
That connection between a global aspiration and an individual issue, it's always so powerful.
It is.
When we can translate what we all should achieve to a daily issue that we might have in our lives, and that might mean so much to us. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your inspirational words, and I, like you, the more I read about the Sustainable Development Goals, the more I could understand how these are at the very working towards SDGs is the very nature, is at the root of international education, because it is about mutual understanding, as we, the label we started using so many decades ago, and all of this requires mutual understanding, and it is about goals for humanity that are to be achieved by mutual understanding and international collaboration. So thank you for reminding us that this is truly at the very heart of what we all do, because all of us here working, all of us today here working in some way or form in global engagement, global education, internationalization, global learning, and all these labels are in fact very, very connected, as you so brilliantly explained, to the future of humankind.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. It's very early morning in Tennessee. in Central Time. So I really appreciate having you here today. And I think right now I would give the mic back to Annette Cummins, and we'll move on to the next session. Thank you all. I'll stay around here on the session, and so you might see me to ask some questions from our presenters today. And again, thank you so much, Dr. Jewell Winn, for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Have a great weekend.
Annette, would you like to take us to the next section of our program?
I would be happy to. Yes, thank you. So the next section of our program is titled Innovation and Creativity in Global Education. And I am pleased to introduce a few of our students from our partner with UNIBE, Aisley Paulina Herrera Garcia, Marian Matilde Rojas Garib, and Lauren Contreras are first up to present their topic, From Being a Shoe Shiner to a Musician. So if you all have a presentation to share, we have made you a presenter, so you should be able to share PowerPoint. And we will turn it over to you all. Hi, Lauren.
Hello. Yes, we have a presentation. We're gonna put it now.
Okay.
And if you're able, not only the presenters, but others here, feel free to turn on your cameras and join us with, oh, there we go. So I have a few more cameras now. Okay, thank you.
Our friend Lauren is trying to put the presentation, so give us a couple of seconds on it.
Sure. Thank you. Oh no.
Hello.
Hi, so my name is Marian Rojas, and today we're going to present our project as part of our Leadership and Social Action class at UNIBE. We decided to join this cause that helps underprivileged children in the city to follow their passions and study music. The name of the project is From Being a Shoe Shiner to a Musician, developed last year mid-pandemic. So it refers to the current situation of some children who work in the street in our country, generally being a shoe shiner, selling candies, or asking for money. Next. So we are Aceli Herrera, Lauren Contreras, and I who speaks, Marian Rojas. Next.
Well, the sound of guitars, the drums, and the laughter of children eager to learn are heard every day in the Zona Colonial. Art is the application of human creative skill and imagination. By knowing this, we can say music is art. Music is art because it means self-expansion. Music is art because it is generated by either one person or a group of people, whether they talent or not. It is art because it lets you express your opinion in many beautiful ways. And this is exactly what the nonprofit Camilo Rehabilitated Music School has done. It has changed the life of dozens of low-income children through art.
Hi, my name is Acelia Herrera, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit why we decided to choose this cause. We decided to offer our help and solidarity to low-income children in our country because we have the possibility and the resources to help those who need it most. It's a reality that in the Dominican Republic, low-income children do not have the resources to attend classes to pursue their passions. Us, unlike them that are privileged, did not have these kinds of problems growing up because we did have access to afternoon classes or extracurricular activities at school that allowed us to decide and explore our talents and hobbies. Next. Next slide.
Okay, so the importance of this cause is simple. Music lets these children develop their cognitive abilities, which leads to better academic performance. And the more the children develop their cognitive abilities, the more they're able to understand the relationships between ideas, to grasp the process of cause and effect, and improve their analytical skills. But not only this cause is important because the children are able to develop their cognitive abilities, it is also important because this school allow these children to have an escape from the illicit acts of the streets, and it allows them to focus on something that is both beautiful and right.
Okay, so now, as you can see here, there are two logos, which is our university logo and a nonprofit organization named called Jumpeame. So this is an organization in the Dominican Republic that seeks for causes and people who need help. Through their social media accounts, they ask for help openly to the entire Dominican community that gets this message, where people willingly donate resources and monies. They've changed the life of hundreds of people, and this is why when we saw this cause on their Instagram account, we immediately contacted them and provided our help. They had already gathered half the funds, so our goal was to reach the other 75,000 pesos, which is equivalent to more than $1,000, plus to repair the school and buy new instruments and fix the ones they already had. Next.
Well, as Aseli mentioned, the funds will be used to repair the music school because it was in poor conditions and purchase new instruments. So more than 200 children go to take classes and they don't have instruments, enough teachers, or space for everyone. Therefore, it has been difficult to maintain that school. So this is why we joined this beautiful mission. Continue.
Well, now we have a little video that explains more about what it is.
Mejores profesores, están enseñando lo que uno no sabe. No va a ser músico. ¿Lo rescataron de la zona? ¿Están limpiando zapatos? No, lo bastante bien. ¿Y por qué le dan a limpiando? Porque no tienen la limpieza. Ahora vamos a tener, porque vamos a hacer cosas. Y arriba abajo. El arte cambia vidas. Esta escuelita nació para rescatar a los niños de la calle. Entendemos que ellos son quienes más necesitan de esta clase, porque ellos son niños y son niños en situación de calle, son niños de muy escasos recursos y son las personas que realmente, mayormente quisiéramos beneficiar, porque esto debe de ayudar a las personas que más lo necesiten y quienes más lo necesitan son esos niños. Un proyecto inclusivo que junta toda clase de gente en un mismo espacio para que todos aprendamos de todo, ya que todos tenemos algo que enseñar y algo que aprender de todo el mundo. Y tenemos mucha...
Okay, well, a little bit of translation. The kids are saying how happy they are because they have a way to learn how to play instrument, and how happy they are that they have the possibility to be out of the streets because they don't have a dime to eat. And the school is not only helping them to learn to play the guitar or the drums, they're also helping them to probably have something to eat every day. And then we have the Camilo Rijo, who's the director, and he's explaining how his goal is to give all the children that are low income the ability to learn to play every kind of instrument.
So as I was saying, we, as you saw, the video had like the Jompeame logo on below, because I said this was the video that we saw that we were like, we're gonna obviously choose this cause and we're gonna put all of our best to like have an event. So I'm gonna talk to you about the proposal and the roles that we did in our class. We divided the class in 3 large teams, each had different goals to reach. There was a sub-team, subgroup that was in charge of communications. They created an Instagram account with our bank info, with our bank account info for people, family, and friends to donate for the cause. So the first team was in charge of fundraising. They contacted local businesses that might want to donate, and also family and friends. The second team planned the event. Jompeame likes to connect with the people they help, and they wanted to do something fun for the kids, but didn't know how because, as we said, this was made on mid-pandemic. The school is in the colonial zone, so it doesn't have the space to invite their whole families to join too. Even though we searched for places we could use to do a large event, it wasn't made possible because we were on mid-pandemic. So we had to work with what we had. We contacted fast food restaurants and other businesses that could donate food for this Sunday afternoon event. And lastly, the third team gathered and collected musical instruments for us to donate.
Okay, so talking a little bit about the results. The result number 1 is that we fortunately raised half of the funds that were needed. We also collect 20 instruments. Those are between the violin, the guitar, a lot of instruments in between those 20. We also contact food companies so they can sponsor us with food, because we wanted to do an activity where all the kids could go and we could spend time with them, a Sunday in the park. And unfortunately, a chicken company helped us, and also an ice cream one, and the kids were very happy, and it was something very emotional to be there with them. And the last one is serve with love and dedication. And by this, we say that we felt so in love with the cause, and we felt very emotional in being able to meet the kids, being able to know how the situation is real, that we did everything from our heart. These are pictures of some of us in the activity. There were the guitars, the food, the kids, the teachers. And well, our goals for the future are to keep the donation active so the community can help the music school. Also, we have to keep track of the music school. By that, we mean to keep going, to keep talking with the kids, to maybe if we know how to play the guitar, we can go and teach. And the last one is keep the project afloat in the next leadership class. By that, we mean that every semester, the university offer a class of leadership, and we really want the next generations to keep working with this school.
Which they did, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. What a lovely presentation and what an amazing cause. And I hope you are all very proud of your work, because this sounds like it was really a wonderful impact on the students, and that you've made some connections there now. So that's fantastic. We will move along to our next presentation with Kyle Terriall, Owen Kilpatrick, Nicholas Vesta, and Kara Vanderkamp at Western Michigan University with their presentation, International Bitmoji Classrooms, Developing Understanding of Students' Global Perspectives.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'll be driving the slides, but the students are leading the show. So everyone, just let me know when you're ready to go to the next slide.
Okay, sounds good. Hi, I'm Nick. I'm one of the people that worked on this project here at the Hennick Institute. So that's me right there. I'm a student at WMU as senior. I'm actually graduating in a couple weeks, and I double major in anthropology and communications.
Hi, I'm Kara Vanderkamp. I am a senior at Western Michigan studying public and nonprofit administration and minoring in leadership for social change. And I'll be graduating in a couple of weeks.
Hi, everyone. My name's Owen. I'm a senior here studying music education and saxophone performance. I still got one more year.
And I'm not sure if Kyle has logged on yet. That may be him right now, but Kyle is our fourth participant, and he is a senior at Western Michigan University as well. And I'll have him introduce himself as he joins if he does. Otherwise, we'll keep trucking.
All right, so when we were developing this project, we really wanted to think of something that would include all of our majors, because initially there was a group of about 10 people before COVID, but we all got together and we talked about it for a long time. And like I said, we want it to be related to all of us, and we wanted to use it to kind of help the community on an international and more of a regional level as well, something that everybody could use. So after a lot of talking, a lot of, kind of brainstorming, we came up with this as our goal, and that was to develop an educational program for young students to promote global education and cultural understanding. And we thought that this was really possible with all of our diverse areas of expertise and different interests. So it was something that we were really happy to come up with.
And so the way we decided to pursue this goal was by creating Bitmoji Classrooms. And so if you're not familiar with the Bitmoji Classroom idea, basically you take a slide on Google Slide, you make a background that looks like a classroom, you insert things, and then you make a little person who looks like yourself, which is the Bitmoji. And so then each image in our classroom is linked to a resource. So if you click on the flag, so for example, this room is Nigeria. So if you click on the flag, it will take you to some history about Nigeria. If you click on the record player, you can hear music from Nigeria. And it kind of is a way for the kids to explore the room and learn about the country. And then with each of our classrooms, we also interviewed a WMU international student from that country and had them kind of speak about what it's like in their culture, share a little bit about like their schooling experience, and just kind of get a perspective from that country. And then along with the classrooms, we also included example worksheets for teachers to give them ideas for how they can utilize our classrooms and what they can do with their kids as they show them the classroom.
So one of the broader UN goals that we were able to address with this was partnerships for the goals. And that's kind of multifaceted throughout our experience in the program and the project. So the first trip we took as a cohort to Lisbon, we were able to be exposed to different business and educational partnerships that Western has. So one of them, like we visited the Nova School of Business and Economics in Lisbon, and we also visited a co-working space, which was really interesting, especially before the pandemic, to see the prevalence of co-working spaces there before many of us were working from home. And then throughout the project, we were able to see all the connections that Western Michigan has to other countries through the international students that we interviewed. And then on a smaller scale, we developed relationships with schools in the Kalamazoo area to get feedback on our project. And that has kind of worked back and forth to continue to grow the Bitmoji classroom. This next goal is peace, justice, and strong institutions. And Kyle is going to talk about our experience the following year when we went to Ireland. We went to a seminar at Queen's University and talked about the political climate and Brexit more specifically. And he talked about how after kind of learning that in the academic setting, we were actually able to talk to people there and kind of get their perspective on it, which was really interesting, especially getting the difference between being in Northern and Southern Ireland. And then he was involved personally in one of the interviews for the Bitmoji Classrooms for the Dominican Republic, and talks about how it was interesting to analyze the similarities between his family life and hers, and the differences between the cultures.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about reducing inequalities through Bitmoji Classrooms, and mostly what I want to talk about is how education is a great tool in reducing inequalities. So what I really like about our classrooms is they put a face and a personality to a country and its people. It's not just a picture on a map anymore. It's not just words in a textbook. It's something that you can see and interact with and really kind of understand on a greater level than you would be able to if you had just read it. I think that we kind of learned this lesson that interaction is really important by studying abroad and going abroad. It definitely makes a difference. You can really, like Owen was saying with the whole Brexit lectures and stuff that we had like that, it really gives you a better feel for an issue and helps you understand the people in the country and their issues. So I think that Bitmoji Classrooms are a great way to educate students without kind of glossing over what is perhaps the most important part of a country, which is its people. And this definitely gives you a more in-depth look at a place than just being told it by a professor or something, or a teacher. And that is definitely something that we wanted to do here, is we wanted to, I guess, reduce inequality by information and informing others and educating others about those who are like them, but, you know, we just don't see them as much. So, yeah, and what I like to say is it kind of makes a foreign land not so foreign, and raising awareness and education on countries and cultures and issues that most students have never even heard of before, or even maybe they've heard of them, but they've never really given it a second thought. So we're really trying to, I guess, make these countries more well-known, and even more well-known countries like Egypt. We have Egypt on here. And I think a lot of students, especially younger ones, will just think Egypt is all sand and Egyptian pyramids and stuff like that. But there's actually a lot more to learn about. And so I'm glad that we can kind of do that for students and make them more aware. So I think that these Bitmoji Classrooms are a perfect way to blend factual knowledge and cultural competency, but they can also be incredibly flexible. So while we feel our classrooms are solid right now, but And then we think that they achieve what we set out to accomplish, our goal. But there's also so much more that can be done with them, and so much more that can be done to promote learning with this type of strategy. So we're really excited to see where other teachers, other people take this, what they design, and what other countries can be added to our slides. So yeah, and we think that these are different than other ways of teaching, and I think it'll be a very effective way to reduce inequality by information, because the more we know about someone in a culture, the more we understand it, and the less stereotypes, the less negative things we can think about it. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
And so the other goal we connected it to was quality education. And so one of the ways we did this is we're expanding students' perspectives of the world. So not all kids have the opportunity to visit other countries, so we wanted to bring the country to them, so they can hear from people from a different place who they might not ever meet in their real life, and so that they can learn and have a more broad perspective of the world, and also to help fill that gap in the classroom. So it's not on the teacher to find all these different resources, but we found resources and we made sure they're good resources, tried to get different perspectives so that teachers don't have to go out and find it themselves, and they can feel that they have good quality resources to share with their classroom, and that they can teach in a culturally competent way. And another way we did this is by sharing stories about education in different countries. Each interview, we asked them about what school is like for them and what their experiences are like, but also being able to give those people a voice, maybe voices that are traditionally erased when it comes to teaching history or geography in schools. So giving them an opportunity to share their voice so that students can hear about different countries and different perspectives. And one way practically that we wanted to do this was by visiting a local elementary school. So we visited Kalamazoo Christian Elementary School here in Michigan, and we were able to share our project with the teachers, get some feedback, share our resources so that they can start to use them. And it was a really great experience to help improve our project.
All right. And as we continue talking, I just wanted to see, did Kyle join us? If he did, he can unmute and jump in. But each of our fantastic global education leaders took on one of these goals to talk about how it fit into their program and experience. But I wanted to also, before I sort of talk about the data that we collected and a little bit of information on our projects and have you explore, wanted to invite any of the students to share any last kind of big ahas or ideas about your global experience that connect to these sustainable goals.
Well, like I was saying, I really appreciate the fact that studying abroad helped me understand the importance of face-to-face actual experiences being worked into education. And so, like I said during my little spiel, I think that this is something that can be really beneficial to people if they really can get invested in it and create something that is engaging for students. I think that the benefits of these Bitmoji classrooms can be really, really great as long as it's done correctly and it's done the right way.
This is more in relation to the project itself, but connecting to quality education and kind of the inequality and access to global education. When we were able to share this this project and experience with the local elementary school, I think we all kind of realized how needed it was and how helpful it was going to be for these teachers. When we were working just by ourselves, it's kind of hard to know, is this going to be useful? Are people going like, do teachers even have time to use this resource in their classroom? But it was really well received, and I think kind of motivated us to really polish it and share it with as many people as we could.
Thank you so much. So we'll continue to talk about the project, but we invite all of the participants here today, as well as moving forward, to share the project, to help us learn more about how it impacts you. I'm Dr. Brianne Pitts. I am an assistant professor of elementary education, and I'm going to continue the conversation about global perspectives in digital classrooms and invite all of the global education leaders, Owen, Kyle, Nicholas, and Kara, to jump in at any time. Quickly, I have a background in teaching and teacher education. I spent 13 years in the elementary classroom. So I became a collaborating faculty mentor in fall of 2021 when the students presented their proposal for their Bitmoji Classrooms. As you can see, I was way on board. And as an educator working during the pandemic, utilizing Bitmojis and online classrooms to access international experiences and expectations is something that I was really looking for. And so when this opportunity with Henneke popped up and the opportunity to work with these students, it was an exceptional pleasure. So where did we begin? In September, we launched the project and the students shared their goals and objectives. I applied to be their collaborating mentor, and we met for the first time in October. So this is really a relatively recent iteration of our collaboration here. At that meeting, we were able to outline some goals, brainstorm what we wanted to ask students in the interviews and how to encourage and engage these video productions. We wanted to think about how the classroom could represent multiple identities, interests, and experiences, both locally and internationally, so that students didn't get a single story vision of an international experience. So we listed some objectives and outlined what the interviews would look like. We drew on some scholarship. As a social studies educator, my research really delves into how in the United States, we often marginalize communities' experiences outside of the Eurocentric, like white normative value. And so we wanted to push on those boundaries to have students investigate the world beyond their current experience, to recognize others' perspectives. And I think that these 4 perspectives from Manzilla and Jackson, this is from a piece of theirs from 2011, but really outline the necessity of not only sort of introducing to students global expectations and experiences, but allowing them to build their capacity, to build their understanding through their own personal investigation. And that's what I think these Bitmoji classrooms are hinting at and have an incredible potential to accomplish, including how to get students to take action and reduce those inequalities on their own. So some non-negotiables we talked about that first meeting were that if we could, we wanted to have multiple perspectives from each of the countries that we were investigating. So because we couldn't interview tons and tons of students, our capacities are somewhat limited at this time. However, the integration of resources, including books and videos and perspectives of other individuals from the countries in the resources provided in the classroom, do illuminate a little bit more than just one single perspective. We also asked questions of the students that included their home lives, their educational experience, things about the government and religion and cultural celebrations, as well as just kind of what made home home. So that, again, our young students in K-12 schools can begin to see outside of their own ideas. We also wanted to have students be able to have choice within the classroom and be able to click on things that were of interest to them and to dispel misconceptions. And I realize I spelled that wrong, sorry. Allowing them to make and explore these global connections. So we also wanted to seek institutional review. So the students sat down with me and we kind of shared some Google Docs, and Nicholas taught me how to use Qualtrics. And we were able to create a couple of different surveys, one to have international students opt into this opportunity, and 2, to have local teachers and teachers who are reviewing these classrooms be able to leave us their feedback. So in November, we wrote for Irb Approval. We received that Irb approval in December that allowed us to interview international students and offer them gift card incentives for participating in the project, knowing that their videos would be used. And then also to engage with teachers anonymously so that they could leave us their feedback on the classrooms. When we created the classrooms, we began this work in January. We put up posters to recruit these individuals across campus. We had about 11 students reach out and say that they were interested. Ultimately, we conducted 9 interviews from a variety of locations around the world. Not all of those have become finalized classrooms yet. In February, we edited, we constructed the classrooms. In March, we went to Kalamazoo Christian Academy to present the preliminary Bitmoji classrooms. And in April, and here at today's conference, we're seeking feedback and presenting as part of this capstone project. We hope that you can spend a few minutes with us investigating these classrooms and seeing what you think and feel and learning from the people here in our Bitmoji classrooms. So we do have a little bit of data to share with you, but also a commercial on our project where you can briefly meet our collaborators. So with your permission, I'll go ahead and share this and then briefly go through our data and give you some time to investigate. So here we go. And please let me know if you can't hear it.
I'm Thong Riang Dastan, and I'm from Nigeria.
This is Emmanuel Anthony, and I'm from Pakistan.
Yes, I am a first-year international student from China, Shanghai, China, and I am happy to be here to share with you something about our tradition or just the culture of China.
Hey, my name is Christina Fermi, and I'm from the Dominican Republic.
So hi everyone, my name is Amira. I'm a PhD student at Western Michigan University. I'm from Egypt.
Just call me Ronnie. I'm from Indonesia. And
Hi, I am Varsha Sundareshwaran, and I am majoring in aviation flight science, so hopefully a future pilot. So I am 20 years old, and I was born in the Middle Eastern country Bahrain. It's like a dot in the global, like the actual globe and the world map, but it's a really big country for me.
Hello, my name is Nick Vesta. I'm part of the 2018 Global Leadership Program cohort.
Hi, my name is Kara Vanderkamp, and I am one of the students that is part of the Global Leadership Program and helped develop this project. The Global Leadership Program at WMU really impacted me because it allowed me to learn about other countries and experience different cultures, which was not something I got to do a lot of previously.
It's something that's really important to me because I love other cultures, I love to travel, and I've always wanted to see the world, and Western is going to be a great opportunity to do that.
When we worked on this project, we decided to come up with the Bitmoji classroom design because we felt like kids sometimes get to miss that experience of learning about different cultures, and we wanted to be able to put as many resources together as possible.
I think these Bitmoji classrooms that we're working on are going to be really helpful. I think it's a great resource to get more cultural understanding to students, younger students.
To make it easy for teachers and for kids to learn about a country and not have to try and find all these resources on their own.
It's not something that's prioritized in elementary or middle or even high schools today.
And that's the great thing about the Bitmoji classroom is that it's so flexible. It can be used in a lot of different ways. You can use it as part of a lesson you already have about different countries, or you can use it as a filler if you have free time at the end of the day and just watch a couple of videos. And it's really cool that kids can explore this on their own. They can meet people from different countries and get to know about the world.
I think they're a great resource that I hope to see more often in the classroom someday, and hopefully they catch on because I think it's something that's very personal and creative.
Welcome to the International Bitmoji Classroom Project. So I'll pause it there and give you a little bit of time to explore in just a moment. But our initial data collection is we were able to receive feedback from 15 teachers from K-8 classrooms. These teachers impacted 857 students across 2 schools. The participants indicated that they taught between 0 and 175 lessons with an international or global focus. So a huge variance, but the majority of participants taught less than 10 lessons a year. that would include global studies or experience in their curriculum. So the educators indicated a variety of levels of experience and expertise, and those with the large amounts of lessons were dual language instructors. Just over half of the educators felt prepared, or at least somewhat prepared for their experience, but many of them were looking for additional resources for global education. After engaging with the global leadership classrooms, the teachers indicated that they somewhat or strongly agreed or were neutral, all 15 of them, in terms of whether this would help students develop awareness of countries and cultures presented. They also felt that these Bitmoji classrooms were user-friendly, and overall, they either agreed somewhat or strongly or were neutral on agreement about that. And similarly, they felt that these would be resources they would be interested in recommending to others after engaging with the classroom. So today, we offer you the opportunity to dig into these, and we know that we can take future action with these global leadership classrooms. We can continue to diversify our voices and experience, create student-focused choice like scavenger hunts for students to investigate the classrooms, or even use these as inspiration for students and teachers to create their own international research projects, or continue developing additional classrooms with our colleagues and communities. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and instead drop into the chat a link to our global Bitmoji classrooms so that you can take a look. I also see that Kyle joined us. So Kyle, welcome, welcome. We were talking about how phenomenal you are. Is there anything that you would like to share? We presented your slide, but regarding this opportunity and experience with the Bitmoji classrooms.
Yeah, I had a really great experience with just doing the interviewing that I did for it. And I just think it was a really great idea and concept overall.
Well, everyone did such a nice job interviewing the students, and then the students also edited the videos and curated all of the resources. So really briefly, I'll share one more time just to show you quickly what you could go ahead and take a look at. So these international Bitmoji classrooms, I'm not doing a good job of sharing my screen right now. You can click through the link that I put in the chat over there. So please do take a look at the link in the chat and visit our Bitmoji classrooms. You are welcome to share them with colleagues and friends. If you want to take a couple of minutes, you can give us feedback on our surveys. But thank you so much to the Henneke Institute. Thank you to these incredible students who have, through COVID, through tons of different challenges, persevered to complete this project and give back to the global community in terms of educating for a diverse and more equitable future. I am so grateful to have been a part of the ride. So thank you very much.
I just go ahead and unmute myself just very briefly. Just first, thank you, Dr. Brian Pitts, for your guidance, mentoring these students and their project. And a very special thank you to our 4 Global Leadership Program students here today, Kara, Kyle, Owen, Nick. It's great to have you here. It's great to see that, if you believed in this program from day one, then day one was 4 years ago until today. And it's great to see you and to see how, what you triggered was a program that continues now, and it wouldn't have continued if it hadn't been for you in those first 2 years. You've gone through the program, as Dr. Pitts mentioned, through a pandemic, through such a difficult period, but also a period when if anyone had any doubts that global interaction was necessary to the future of humankind, well, there was COVID to tell us exactly how much we need that interaction, and to see the students, the quality of their narrative on global education is absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much.
Thank you all. I just want to add that it's amazing to see how far you all have come since 2018. We're going to be, it's bittersweet, right? We're going to be sad to see you graduate and move on, and that we won't see you around campus, but are also very happy for your success, both in the program and in your studies. And I think there's also sort of a common theme here with this presentation and the students from UNIBE, in that, you know, you're really playing a role in shaping young minds and in helping younger children and students grow. And that is something to be very proud of. So we will move on to our next presenter from Iscte School Business Ambassador Program, impacting our students and enhancing their employability. And our presenter for that is Francisco Biscaino. I apologize if I'm saying your last name wrong.
It's tricky even for Portuguese people, so you did a really good job, actually.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us today.
No, thanks, Annette. I'll try to share my screen with you now. Okay, application. Is this right? Okay, let me know if you're seeing the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm putting it full screen. Okay, there we go. If you have any trouble seeing the slides or something of the sort, please let me know, and I'll do what I can to fix it. So good afternoon, evening, or morning to everyone, depending on the location of the planet that you're at. My name is Francisco Biscaino. I am part of the Iscte Business School Career Services team, alongside with my colleagues Tiago Santos and Graça Brites. We also have here our coordinator with us, Diana Oliveira, and we would like to thank the West Michigan University for this opportunity to talk a little bit about something that we've been doing for the last couple of years. It's a recent initiative, our ambassador program, through which we've tried to impact our students and enhance their employability and also their global citizenship. So before we jump into the program and into its details, I would like to give a brief overview about our school. So Iscte Business School is one of the top universities in Portugal. We are based in Lisbon under the umbrella of our mother university, Iscte. The school is a top reference for quality education in the business areas in Portugal. We have 7 different undergraduate programs, 15 different master programs, 1,850 undergraduate students, 1,200 master students, and our employability rate is usually consistently over the 90% mark, which is a tremendously good experience and a tremendously good indicator for everyone. Can you just confirm if you are watching the PowerPoint correctly? I do believe I have an indication from a colleague that I'm not sharing it properly.
We're seeing the PowerPoint. It looks like it might not be the slideshow mode, but
okay, because I have it on full screen. But well, given that I'm only seeing my screen and not everyone's faces, well, I'll just proceed with it. I hope it's not compromisable.
We can see it fine.
Okay, perfect. And so our school's value proposition, it's actually been mentioned by the keynote speaker at this conference, is to excel in learning and research, to provide and build an international and multicultural environment here at the school and outside of its gates, to build strong links with the business community and guarantee that there is an exceptional graduate placement, and of course to foster leadership in entrepreneurship and innovation. And here we have also our Dean, Professor Maria João Cortinhal. So without any further delays, jumping into the Student Ambassador Program, what we tried to do over the last years was to design a program to develop the soft skills and professional competences of our students. Can you please confirm if you're seeing different slides or if you're still at the...
Yeah, I think we're not seeing the flight change.
Okay, because I'm moving on through the slides, but
Yeah, it might be
Okay.
because it's not on presentation mode. So when you're actually moving your slides,
Well,
it's not really.
I've
So if you
selected
can
slide
put
show.
it
You're
on
still seeing my
presentation
screen?
mode and then share it.
Are you still seeing my screen?
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just see. I'm sharing it again. So are you able to see the PowerPoint?
No,
Not
no,
yet.
there's nothing on the screen.
Which options should I choose? Because I have like a share option here at the call. So I click on share and I have like window or application. Well, it's in Portuguese, but I have window or application. I've been choosing application and then choosing PowerPoint, but for some reason it's not appearing.
I think if you select window, then it should take you to the screen, to your main screen,
Yeah.
to PowerPoint, and then down at the bottom of the PowerPoint should be the little slide to do the slideshow.
Okay, what
No,
about now?
Yes. Yeah, now put it on presentation mode. And there you go.
Oh, okay, there we
Yeah.
go. So sorry, sorry about that.
No problem.
And I'd like to thank my colleagues for letting me know that I was like talking without the support of the slides. Just to go back to remind you of the figures that I was just talking about, and for you to, of course, to see our students and our dean. So moving on, as I was saying, with this program, what we tried to do was to build a team of highly committed and responsible students that were aligned with the school's vision, mission, and values to help us organize and promote the activities that we carry out throughout the academic year, to establish a privileged link between the school, its academic community, and our stakeholders, and also, and most importantly, to boost these students' employability, their communication skills, their intercultural awareness, and the impact that they have within the school and outside of it with its stakeholders. So how did we assemble this team, you may ask? What we tried to do was to create a blend of different profiles. So combining high-performance students, which would be the obvious candidates to be part of a program like this, with proven academic record of prowess and engagement also with other student clubs and initiatives that they would find here at the business school, and combine those students with students that have unfulfilled potential, so they haven't been engaged in any sort of activity outside of the classroom, and that feel the need to get out of their comfort zones and to step out and grow as individuals, and also with more mature students that have already some type of professional experience or an unusual academic or professional background. It's actually funny that we have students that have already graduated from programs that have nothing to do with business. We have a person that has graduated from a fine arts bachelor program, people coming from science backgrounds. So we try to create this melting pot of different profiles to really combine the different views of these students and make the most out of each one's contributions and different visions about the world. So we opened applications for every single one of our students here at Iscte Business School. It's thousands of them, but we didn't put any restrictions. But we also disclosed that we wanted to build a team not as large as something that would be in the hundreds, but in the dozens. So we settled for 25 people out of the 46 candidates that we had. And not surprisingly, well, at least for us, there's a majority of women in this program. We have here some of the pictures of our ambassadors. They are not all of them are here represented, but we actually have a majority of women in this program. And the reason why this is not a surprise is that because for some years now, women have been actually the bulk of the Portuguese university population. So, which is a figure that we as a country are proud in the sense that not that long ago, many of you were still alive when women wouldn't even be allowed to, or it would be extremely difficult for them to have access to higher education here in Portugal. And these students, these ambassadors, they come from 14 different master and bachelor programs. And we have somehow of an equilibrium between these two facets. So we have 14 students coming from undergraduate programs and 11 coming from master programs. And so what we try to do with these students and what we are doing with these students throughout the academic year is to create a set of activities and initiatives that are aiming to make them grow as individuals and collectively through 3 points of action. And the first point of action is their career development. So what we built was a set of activities that have allowed them to develop their skills to enter in a more smoother fashion the job market, provide them with higher confidence when they engage with peers, companies, and professors and other stakeholders. So some examples of these activities are the fact that we have summoned some of our partner companies to host some of these students as their own ambassadors as well. And we have 3 students serving as ambassadors also for Teleperformance, and 1 student with Hayes, a global HR company. And these companies, basically, they have a long tradition of being sponsors and close partners with our school, and they are providing these students a set of activities, career plans, access to their recruitment processes, and also giving them some inputs that only companies can provide, and therefore enriching their experiences and their curriculum. Other than this, we have also provided them with soft skills workshops, and we have focused on a leadership and self-awareness program with Luminous, a self-awareness and human development company. Actually, yesterday we had the last workshop, so it had like 2-3 workshops in the span of 2-3 months, and then some individual sessions throughout the weeks. And yesterday was the last workshop, and it even had a closing dinner, which was fun. And also we have partnered these students, these ambassadors, with former students from Iscte Business School through mentoring sessions with these alumni. And this has also been, of course, a really great experience for the students, as they've been able to gather inputs, unique inputs from students, former students from our school that not so long ago were in their places and are already established in the job market, and of course have valuable advices for them. These students have also been helping our career services team, helping us create, for example, our job fair, support us in the activities that we carry out throughout the year, either company open days, workshops, and other events that we've been carrying out. One of the main outcomes, and one that we are really proud of this point of action, is the fact that since this ambassador program started in this academic year, 11 of these ambassadors have either joined a students club, and students club here in Iscte often assume a nature in which they almost simulate a job. So students have a big set of responsibilities and are engaged in multiple activities that are really demanding, time-consuming, but also rewarding. And so we've had 11 students either joining those student clubs, getting an internship or a job since the program has started. So we are doing a good job so far in boosting these ambassadors' employability levels. The other point of action is to make these students more aware of their role as global citizens, and to boost as well their sensibility and their empathy and their will to broaden their horizons and deal and interact and learn from different cultures and different people from the world. And this is materialized in their role as staff members at the summer and winter school initiative here at Iscte Business School. And these students were, well, all ambassadors were invited to be a part of the staff, but of course we could not have everyone as staff, otherwise we would have more staff members than actual participants. But 6 ambassadors stepped forward as staff members for the winter school 2021-2022. We will have more ambassadors for the summer school in the upcoming months. And so what these ambassadors were tasked to do was to schedule, plan, organize, budget, and guide all extracurricular activities for the foreign students that were coming for the winter school. they have supported the activities while they were happening, and they have assisted the foreign students on their daily problems and questions. As you may imagine, there are lots of problems and questions that arise when you are in a foreign country and in a different culture. And our ambassadors were there the whole time to help them. And also, they have become their friends. They've had multiple dinners, as you would suspect that young people would do. And some of them really enjoy this opportunity to actually build friendships that have lasted and will last longer than this program. And so with this, we have been able to achieve this opportunity to increase their intercultural communication skills, event management skills, all of these really relevant for their journey throughout the job market, their empathy levels, and broadening their horizons to become more open-minded global citizens. But just to let you know, from the participating students on the winter school, we had 6 different nationalities. So Germany, Italy, Croatia, Japan, South Korea, and Finland were the countries that sent their students to us for the winter school. The last point of action is the role that these ambassadors play in sustainability, impact, and engagement here at Iscte Business School. So the focus of this point of action is for us to start building the necessary steps to create a more sustainable, a better business school. And the way that we have tried to do this, or to take the first steps in doing this, was to create a sustainability focus group that is designed to put on the same table and give this opportunity for ambassadors, our students, to have a say in what they feel that we can do more to make the school more sustainable, inclusive, diverse, and also to challenge them to actually propose initiatives, points of improvement, or just to lay out their criticism on whatever it is fair that they feel that they need to criticize, but really to give them a place at the table and have a say in what we can do to become a better business school. As an auxiliary tool to this intention, we are putting in place some workshops, and especially a really fun one that is really illustrated by the picture here at the slide, which is a Lego Serious Play workshop in which we try to get the feelings that these students had about their role at the Iscte Business School, and also what do they think that is an ideal business school. And through a very fun and creative workshop, these students, but also staff members, me and Graça also participated in the morning workshop on the first round, and my colleague Tiago participated in the second round in the afternoon. In a really fun and playful way, we actually managed to say very important things and create a very complete notion of what we were feeling as staff members at the school, as students, and what we could do to improve the school, and how we could also feel better as an engaged part of this community. We also often call these ambassadors to do internal analysis meetings with us to do regular analysis on what the school is doing, what do they feel that is being done well throughout these last couple of years, what do they feel that should be improved. And so only by giving these students a voice and a seat at the table are we able to actually customize and fashion whatever it is that we want to give students as an academic experience to be something that is more aligned with their own expectations and desires. And finally, we have invited these students to participate in the AACSB reaccreditation process that the school is going through at the moment, which is a big, really big moment for us, and that will create and it will lay the ground for future growth opportunities for the school. And so who better than students that are engaged with the school and teaching us things that we need to know from their side, who better than them to be also engaged in this process and give their contributions. So how does all of this is aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals? As a business school, of course, we are thriving for quality education. And with this program, what we have done is we have set in motion an initiative that aimed and is aiming and being successful at that, to have real impact on our students' employability, their global citizenship degree, and their academic engagement. So we want to go beyond the traditional academic experience at Iscte Business School and enrich it with this program that is tailored to a smaller group of students, yes, but empowers them and gives them this seat at the table, lets them provide extremely helpful and necessary feedback for us to improve and to provide them also a better academic experience. And this is also combined with this very clear intention from our side to boost their employability and to smoothen their transition to the job market. So all of this combined with the increasing global citizenship degree that we also try to bestow upon them aligns with SDG 4, quality education, and has been more specifically translated into the pursuit of targets 4.4, which is more dedicated to skills and employability, and target 4.7, which is more dedicated other than its obvious subjects, also to boosting this sense of global citizenship to students. And through this, we have been able to create a very enriching experience for everyone. It's been a pleasure for us as staff members here at Iscte Business School to work with these students. It's also been a fun experience for them. We are already having some feedback from the students of this year that they want to be with us next year to move a step forward and have more responsibility and go beyond what they are doing now. And this is the best type of feedback that we can have and the best assurance that we're doing a good job with this program. I don't have anything else to say. I hope I didn't give you death by PowerPoint. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, feel free to reach out and engage. Send us an email, add us on LinkedIn, be our guest, place questions on the chat. We'll be happy to reply.
Thank you, Francisco and Iscte, for your presentation. It's interesting that we've had similar programs in the past, and it'd be interesting to sometime showcase some of these programs and talk about them, and maybe find more ways of collaborating. So, muito obrigado. And it's a really interesting program. It seems that the students were very engaged in it, and I thought it was very interesting. And I think universities that I know don't do that as often as they should or could. Very interesting to involve the students in the AACSB reaccreditation. Because after all, they're part of everything that goes into accreditation, and also the goal of accreditation itself. So very interesting to involve the students. I think we should all think about it more seriously and involve our students more deeply in our accreditation processes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I agree, Paulo. I was thinking during the presentation how I see maybe possibly more opportunities for collaboration between this program and our global engagement programs. And I think it's a really interesting way to get some really deep sort of buy-in from the students. You know, they're very, they're given a lot of responsibility, but I think that that's obviously enriching for them, but for you as well. And so I'm sure they are grateful for the opportunity to be in the program. So yes, if there are no questions, I don't see any questions in the chat.
And Annette, before we close the first session, since we went very quickly from the first presentation to the second. I just wanted to thank here Aseli, Miriam, and Lauren from UNIBE. Also a very inspiring collaboration, and that made me miss the Zona Colonial in Santo Domingo, where they were developing this program. And I just wanted to say very briefly thank you and hi to my friends Gloria and Lorraine from UNIBE, who are here on the call too. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, the next
Dan is here too. I didn't see you.
So the next portion of our conference is showcasing partnerships in global education. And to kick off this part of the session, we'll hear from Jackson Chang, who will be speaking about Western Michigan University, GIMBA in Taiwan.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi there.
Hi. I'm Jackson. I'm representing Syscam Global Education Center today. I'm with Jenny, Max, and Shen. They're my colleague for the servicing GI MBA program, Global Innovation MBA program from WMU. So I'm going to start showing you the slide. Please let me know if you can see the slide. Can you see?
We sure can. Yep.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I think I need to share the sound. There's a video I'm gonna play. Okay. All right. Here we go again. Okay. So with Syscam, we have been working with WMU servicing students in Asia, especially in Taiwan, since 2019, the end of 2019. But before I go into the specifics, I'm going to tell you a little bit about us. So Syscam, a little bit about Syscam and the solution we provide to students, the Global Innovation MBA students in Taiwan, how we've done, and some of the feedback from the students. So here, first, at Syscam, our vision is that we want to build up the characters of success for our students through formal business education. For MBA students, Global Innovation MBA program, these are targeted at working individuals, and most of them are high-level executives or business owners. So they just need somebody to put everything for them together. Their experience is something that they have learned before along the way, but they just need formal business education to put all the concepts together. And WMU is a great program. We have a lot of support from professors. Sorry, can you hear me? Somebody speaking?
We can hear you. Yep, I think somebody might have just either joined the call or left the call or muted. So.
Okay, all right. So what we want for our students is we envision them to become leaders for their program, for their organization, as well as to society as a whole. So with such vision in mind, what we see is that our mission is to provide solutions to students where like high quality business education, the need when it's not met, we will help them to find suitable programs. And WMU is a great one that our students see a lot of value in. So keeping in mind such a vision and mission, we actually expanded our operation to students in Vietnam and Myanmar in 2016. We were established in 2009, so we're relatively young. We have been in operation for 12 years. It's going to be 13 years this year. And we have been in other areas in Asia for more than 7 years now. We have cooperation with more than 30 universities and organizations, and we are looking to expand such influence. And for our students, we have for Taiwan students, we have WMU Global Innovation MBA program. For students in Taiwan, our University University in Taiwan EMBA offerings to students in Vietnam, and we have Taipei University of Business EMBA offering to students in Myanmar. It's a Chinese program, and we have University of the Edge EMBA from Belgium offering to students in Asia. So if we take a look at these are some class in progress photos. Even during the pandemic, we have a lot of challenge. Students cannot come to a classroom, physical classroom, and we actually feel a lot of support from professors in WMU. At the end, there is a video of professors giving some students some suggestion and a word of appreciation. Later, I will show you. So these are just some class in progress photos, and we do have different events available all the time. So even during the pandemic, we're still trying very hard to make things happen, so students have that kind of connection in physical space with each other. So we have some other events. This is the one during Christmas. We have charity events just last month, offering help and advice to youngsters who actually drop out of school. So there are different events, and our students, they are, as you can see, they are working professional. I think they are, the average age is 30 plus, and it's mostly ladies, it's mostly female. We have a lot of women students, so we see that as a good thing. And these are students' background from different industry. Morgan Stanley, Apple, these are the ones you know. Cathay Pacific, ASUS, in pharmaceutical, Siemens, Acer, 3M, Amazon, MSI. So Global Innovation MBA program from WMU are getting more and more recognition. When we started back in 2019, the end of 2019, that's the first cohort. It was greenfield, right, with no student. And right now, at the beginning of 2022, into third cohort, we have a total of 75 students already. So it's getting more exposure, and we are actually getting word of mouth spread it by our students. So that's a great thing. At SHISCAM, we are focusing on postgraduate program right now. We're not only servicing local Taiwanese, we are locally based in Taiwan, our headquarters, but we have operation in other parts in Asia. So like our students, they are from Vietnam, Myanmar, Cambodia, New Zealand. We have expats studying with us from Europe. There are even students in USA, which is interesting. So how we have been promoting Global Innovation MBA program is digital brand marketing. We spend a lot of effort building up different channels, so people actually see this high quality program available. What we especially love is showing the professors. WMU, we appreciate the support of the great professors. Students love the professors, and these are something that we hope can get more recognition from our future students as well. So if you want to take a look at our different channels, you can take a look on Facebook. We are on Instagram. There is a website available. It's in Chinese though, and there's YouTube, LinkedIn. It's interesting. We actually find people on LinkedIn quite interested in our program, in Global Innovation MBA program. So we are tapping into this platform as well. So right now, into the third year, of the partnership with WMU, with especially like with the support of the university, we're able to get really good response from our students, especially things like this is a video from one of our graduate students. It's mostly is in Chinese. Her name is Carol.
大家好，我是
I'm
联
going
营
to
SB
jump
3的
to
创办
the
人。
area where she recommended.
They might be more impressed by this journey of personal growth. This is Carol, a new graduate and a founder of S-Design Personal Style Company. I sincerely invite you to join the world of innovators, a program of WMU GIMBA. 台湾にいらっしゃる皆
She's
さん
making
こんにちは
recommendation in
S-Design
Japanese as
ファウンダーの
well,
レンです。
which is quite interesting.
グローバルイノベーションの
We haven't thought about that.
新しいイノベーション世界の一員として必ず参加し
So
なけ
she's
れば
making
後悔してしま
recommendation
う
in
プログラム
Chinese,
です。
English, and Japanese.
ぜひようこそご登録してください。Thanks for watching. 谢谢。我是联营，我是 S-Design 创办人，邀请你一同加入 GIMBA 的行列。
So these are the things that keep us going. Really good response, and they are willing to share their experience to making a recommendation to their friends and family. When we post on social media, there are a lot of sharing from some particular students as well. So that's good. That means we are expanding the influence of WMU in Asia, and we would love to expand that influence more. So at the end of this presentation, I'm going to show you. We're very happy that. Sorry, let me go to the next slide. We're very happy that we have our first cohort of student graduated already, and this is a 1-minute video which we made with some words from professors. It's made for memorial purpose for students. You probably haven't. I'm going to share this with you as a conclusion for this presentation, and we appreciate the help that we get from WMU in making it possible, and we would love to expand the influence more, get more students, of course, and I hope by this presentation you have a little bit of understanding about CSKM and the program we're offering, the service we're offering here.
First of all, I hope you all can reflect and celebrate on how much work you've done to share such good information with each other.
Kelly O'Reilly said that teaching this class was one of the highlights of her career.
I wish it was longer. I'm just getting to know you and it's already over. And so I appreciated having you in class and wish you all absolutely the very best.
Go forth and bargain hard and have fun. It has been so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sticking with me and congratulations on really excellent work.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the presentation. Any questions, just feel free to email us. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And these are just our team in Taiwan. I didn't put Vietnam and Myanmar, so yes, I'm gonna end sharing now. Anything else, please email us. We'd love to get in contact with you.
Thank you, Jackson, and thank you for sharing the videos. I know that I think maybe it was Tim Palmer that said it. You know, I feel like I've just gotten to know you, and now we're moving on. I'm sure that was one of the hard parts about it. You get to know a group and you have such an awesome opportunity, and then it goes by so fast. But it sounds like
definitely. And I believe the students they are looking forward to greet professors when they come to Taiwan. I think when they first come visit, there could be 200, 300 students waiting for them.
that would be wonderful.
Depending on how long the pandemic is going to last.
And I know our professors are anxious to get abroad and to start resuming normal travel again, and would probably be so happy to see 200-300 students greeting them.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for participating today. And this is an amazing program and has been such a successful partnership. So it's great to see you here today, even if just on our screen. Hopefully
we appreciate it.
Be in person sometime soon. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have Diana Ventura from UNIBE with her presentation, The Role of UNIBE's Leadership in Dominican Republic During the Pandemic. Hi, Diana.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. This is a great pleasure. We have such an amazing partnership with Western Michigan, so it's always great to be part of this process. And I'm very happy to be here. So I'm going to be discussing today in a more broader spectrum of what the things that we do at UNIBE that actually goes towards those SDGs, and more importantly, how do we give back to our community and our country, and how to translate also internationally with this type of agreements that we have with Western Michigan and other universities. I want to actually start into understanding what did we do during the pandemic and how actually we handle to make sure that we keep our efforts into making sure that we put our share into keep integrating this global objectives. For example, for us, we decided to use COVID as an opportunity to grow. This is a picture actually of our university as a physical environment, and then also like the digital environment that you see here, and also my background that you are able to see. So definitely we find this opportunity, which is very difficult to do in the first place, but we say, hey, let's go and take it to the next level. So this is just very pictures of like what is normal and what is actually the things that we're doing right now. And for us going hybrid or probably just face-to-face now, but those pictures actually reflects and the big change that we have to do, all of us here, towards making sure that we have that quality assurance into the students and into the process and the commitment that we have with the society and the world as well. So one of the most important parts for us, it was actually the well-being of the community. And that was important. How do we translate into, okay, we have to go virtual. First of all, thankfully, UNIBE has been virtual for close to 10 years. So we had a lot of experience into virtual environments. So for us as a university, it was actually easier than probably for the majority of the ones in the country to actually do the migration and be able to be back on track as it was possible. So our academic community, it was extremely important in the well-being and based on the things that and those objectives that we want to make sure that we create. So we did so many different activities throughout different platforms in order to make sure that people stayed motivated, still on top of things, and at the same time, they were healthy as well. So we keep track of all of that, and we also keep track of students, collaborators, even alumni, and everybody in between. We recognize academic excellence, so we find a way to keep moving forward with everything that we do in the university, even if we had a different type of environment. So if we're going to be talking about the sustainable development or the sustainable development goals and all the things that we have to do for the 2030 agenda and how that UNIBE leadership actually play that role. Taking the words of our university president, Dr. Camilo, definitely we want to concentrate in four different aspects. First of all is relevance. What do we do that make us relevant, okay? Of the things that we're doing today, of what Jackson was discussing about that global citizenship. And the most important part, it's our role in the society. If we think about the sustainable goals, we would say, hey, you know, we have to go towards number 4, which is quality of education, but we have to be thinking in a much bigger spectrum. Why? Because our role in the society is actually cross-reference all of the different objectives. So for us, it's extremely important to be an actual part of the community. And that's actually something that also our university president talks about, and also Lorraine, about the 4H of framework, which we have to find a way, and we have to keep finding ways to integrate the government, the social, the community or the civil society, the academia, and the industry or the private sector. And this is how it's important. And throughout the slides, you will see how that we actually work towards that. The other thing that we talked about is effectiveness, okay? The things that we do, how do we monitor them, and how do we make sure that we take that information and make it better and take the time to actually change the things that needed to be changed. The other part at 12, it's when we have to talk about efficiency and effectiveness. So that's 6, like what do we bring from here? How do we make sure that the things that we're doing are making sense? But the most important part, it's who's confirming that we're doing things in the right way. So those are probably one of the things that for us, it was extremely important and would take a lot of time and effort in order to develop. And you will see in the different slides here. So I know that all of you will say, hey, how all of your programs relate to each of the objectives. And we're gonna go over very quickly because I wanna make sure that we present the broad spectrum of everything that we do at UNIBE. But thankfully, like the 7 goals in here, and we're gonna actually see how they work towards the thing that we do in a day-to-day activities. When we talked about energy consumption and we talked about sustainable communities, definitely our programs in engineering, architecture, and interior designs includes and develop those competencies related to those specific efforts. So if we want to take in a specific program and say, how do those relate to the global objectives, that's definitely what we're doing here. There's also a much broader spectrum that we're going to see later on. When we talked about the law, of course, we talked about quality of education. Remember that for us, there are 5 characteristics of quality of education for us in general, which is effective learning, as I mentioned, the relevance, which is the global citizenship, the inclusion and diversion, the universal of what is education as it is, and the lifelong experience for everybody involved. So we want to make sure that we bring that to the table. So within our law program, psychology and early childhood education, we promote the knowledge, the values, and the abilities to relate to some of the goals specifically. When we talk, I don't know if that's a question or something, you let me know, because you know I'm in slideshow mode. I don't know if anybody's asking any questions. If not, you open your mic and let me know. When we talked about the business and engineering as well, we promote those objectives for decent work, economic growth and industry, and innovation and infrastructure. When we talked about health and well-being, definitely our science side of it and our programs in dentistry, psychology, and community service, and specifically in our clinics, actually are a great example of how we do in practical terms promote that health being and well-being. The most important part, and we also see it here. Bina, you want to say something? Says I cannot hear you.
I'm here. I'm sorry. I'll mute my.
Okay. No, it's okay. Okay, so definitely for us, research it's actually what we do on a day-to-day, and you will see it here, how that we took an actually face forward role in the middle of the pandemic. Our investigation hubs helps us to create the knowledge to help to integrate that public policy and also how translate into the academia and also to the industry and the society, okay? And we find a way how to navigate with that. When we talked about other things, inclusion, diversity, community service, all of that also pans out and played a role into all of the sustainable goals that we're trying to achieve. What do we do to be relevant? As I just mentioned, that for us is extremely important. Relevance have to do with what people are needing today and what exactly UNIBE is doing in order to provide that for people. And that's exactly what we did. In the middle of the pandemic, as crazy as it might sound, we decided to launch new programs into our portfolio. One of them, it was liberal arts, which is something that we do not have in the country. That is actually something well known in the United States, but for us as a country, we did not have this type of opportunity for students. And also as well, we decided to launch a program for adults, which means that adults can concentrate their efforts into law, psychology, or even business, but in a different type of program that doesn't necessarily involve being with the regular student at UNIBE. Well, we talked about also effectiveness, as I mentioned, like what is it important? Like, I know that the Minister of Education gave me a specific guidelines and protocols that I have to follow, but also at UNIBE, and Bina is here, which is probably the mastermind behind all of it, it's kind of like, how do we make sure that we reassure that the quality is there? We're moving towards a virtual environment. We have done it in the past, but not in this capacity. So who can help me to make sure that I'm doing things in the right way? And how can reassure our community that things are done in the right way? And that's exactly what we did. And we had a partnership with Quality Matters that it will help us to actually reinforce everything that we're doing through the virtual environment. When we talked about UNIBE Virtual, as I say, for the Minister of Education, virtual learning, it was not an option in the Dominican Republic in the past. So I want to make sure that we're clear on that, because for us as a country to make sure that we migrate towards face-to-face classes, even if we had a very good understanding as a university, it was not something that it was on in our country. So it was a big leap of faith at some point into making sure that we transfer everything onto that. We were able to transfer more than 9,000 virtual classrooms right away. So I wouldn't say it was difficult, but I say it was extremely hard work, and we were able to put it together and making sure that we provide the students and the academic community a way to keep moving forward and do not miss the opportunity of learning within the middle of the pandemic. What do we do with that? The same thing that I was doing, like how do we make sure that this is a lifelong experience for the students? We need to prepare, we need to form, we need to train, and we were able to do all of that with so many different people, with so many different platforms that we were able to help the professors and even the students and our administrative staff to make sure that they were prepared enough to be part of this telework, as we call it, or so for them to thrive and for them to actually be able to do their job that they needed to be done. And we formed in a matter of less than a month, more than 2,000 professors into the platforms, into new initiatives, into all these programs that we need to do in order to make sure that we reassure that quality of education that we were trying to bring back in a virtual environment. When we talked about this, and this is probably one of the greatest things that we do, we're probably the first university in the country that was able to put a protocol back for the medical residency to go back to the hospitals. It was scary. Nobody wanted to get out of the house, but doctors, they train in the field. So for us, it was extremely important to make sure that we find a way to keep working with our society, but most important in order to give back and making sure that we have a sure and we have a seat in that specific room and say we're here to help. As an institution, we're committed, with our country to make it better. So for us, it was extremely challenging, but we make it through. And thankfully, it was probably one of the most great experience for the team, but more importantly for the students specifically. But also was probably the first school to bring back the clinic of dentistry, which actually is something that we give back to the community because it's something that we do at very low cost or probably at not cost at all. So we find a way to help people in needs with this type of opportunities. And also it is a learning opportunity as well for the students to keep actually learning the abilities in the field. One of the efforts that we do in order to make sure that we were part of the process is to make sure that we were part of the vaccination efforts. We end up making different rounds throughout the campus and the university and helping the government to make sure that vaccination, it was something that it was done, it was quickly, it was done in the right way. And on UNIBE's campus, we vaccinated more than 10,000 people. So that was probably something else that we wanted to make sure that we bring back and help the community. Something interesting that I did not mention, and you see a picture of him later on, our #1 investigator in viruses, it was actually one of the first people that was a consultant for the Dominican government when it comes into dealing with the pandemic, and that is Dr. Robert Paulino. So since day one, we were able to find a way how to help our community, but the most important part is how do we keep helping the government itself? As we call it, efficiency. We have to monitor, we have to validate, and then we have to make the changes if necessary in all of those evaluations. And with our collaborators, with the students, with the professors, and everything that we put in together in our different programs. One of the great things that we also have to take into consideration, that doesn't really matter if we're virtual, if we're face-to-face, we want to keep bringing back to the community, to the social services, to the integration, to the internationalization. So we basically shift our efforts in a way that the students and the community was able to keep bringing back and giving back through our inclusion, diversity, different fests, in different ways to keep improving those sustainable goals. We talked about and we are partnered with so many different programs internationally that we are able to actually create link classes, mirror classes, virtual classes, so many different ways for the students to be engaged into active learning. One of the great things that we were able to do based on our research hub, it was actually partnership with other universities in the country to give solutions to the actual situation, the health sanitary situation at the moment. And together we were able to create and produce masks and respirators that the actual government was actually missing into that part because of the high amount of cases presented in the country. So from different aspects, we always find a way to how do we link towards the government, how do we link towards the public policy, towards the industry, where the people are needing today, what is the society is needing, what is our academic community needs, and how do we find a way to bring it back. Of course, we have to entertain how students have to keep learning in a different environment through different platforms, and we were able to create all of that in a virtual environment. One of probably our greatest efforts that we were also able to do virtually, it was Mercad Expo, which is actually our insignia project when it comes to the marketing tools. And we decided to concentrate our efforts into the digital world, what is actually was very relevant towards the things that we were happening right at that moment specifically. How do we translate within the physical and the virtual platforms, and how do we prepare our students and overall everybody together in order to make sure that that makes sense. And we give them that relevant knowledge moving forward, because, we need to make sure that we prepare the students into whatever that they're going to be facing next, not whatever happened in the past. The internationalization, it was huge. I always tell people we did not stop. We transform ourselves into this process. And we find a way to keep motivating the students to do virtual exchanges. We find a way to keep doing the diversity and inclusion through the UNESCO Share that we're part of it. And we make sure that we keep interacting with all of that. Student engagement through different opportunities, throughout different partnerships. The opportunities, for example, we are probably one of the few universities to be partnered with the GPE network, the ECU network, Sonic Coiled, Cladea, and all of these learning opportunities that help us to keep interacting with the students and do not lose that international side that we were always wanted to give the student to actually become a global citizen. And that is actually one of the UNIBE's insignias, and more importantly, that's Lorraine's Amel job. And in a day-to-day activities, and probably it's what she brings into the table, and she will be remembered for it. Doesn't matter where she goes. She's not going anywhere. I'm just saying that she was the one who designed that from the ground up, and is able to see it as it is today. This is an example of the Cole methodologies, the GPA network. I was a professor, for example, for global understanding in a class, and it was a great opportunity to actually be with universities and interacting with other students and finding a way for them, even if they were not physically be able to travel, to be able to keep connecting with other cultures, with and with other students, and even in other majors as well. It's just not necessarily from my end as an international business program director. It was not necessarily based on a business perspective. We need to create that person that can integrate and understand the different aspects of life in general. All the presentations that we did based on us as an institution was able to make a leadership and make a difference. And the most important part, it's the good practices. We were recognized probably as one of the few universities to be as an example of the things that we do within the pandemic and how we make that feasible. And then we were able to give the students what they need, the community, and also help the society as a whole. We have to make sure that we keep interacting with all this hybrid modality with every single project that we do in every part. Internationally, locally, for example, the picture that you see in the right is actually our Marca País, which is the logo for the country that goes abroad in a tourism spectrum, and to see if we want to sell our country, how do we actually find a way to help that specific part, and that was created basically in the middle of the pandemic, and a lot of our professors and also a lot of our alumni were part of that process as well, and we were very, very, very honored to be part of that. The most important part, this is Robert Paulino, the one in the right, the one that I told you that it was probably, he's a virologist, one of the main consultants for the government when it comes to dealing with the pandemic. We have Dr. Aida Mencia, which is the Dean for Research, and then Leandro, which is the Dean for Research, for Director for Research and Innovation as well. The most important part for us as well is making sure that we bring something back to the table. It's not just necessarily meaning like all of these aspects that we do in a practical term, like helping with the vaccination, helping the government to do this and to do that. But what do we use that, and how do we translate that to the world? And also, how do we give back and find a way to making sure that all the things that we're doing in the Dominican Republic, they can translate and they can help other countries in order to get a response against everything that is happening. And the most important part is understanding how all of that works towards our country through the Caribbean and through different institutions, publics and privates, and all of that. So for us, it was a big piece to making sure that out of all of this, we also are able to publish all of these articles in index journals for us to give back to all of that. That will be my presentation for today. I don't know if you have any questions. How do I stop sharing? I'm sorry.
I think if you go up to the top of your screen and kind of hover towards the top, there should be a little bar that drops down that says to stop sharing.
Mm-hmm. Visual grid. Like towards the center middle top of your screen. Huh.
If you hover up there, it should have a little menu.
It says show me in front of a presentation, don't mirror my video and change my virtual background. That's what it says. Sorry, trying to figure it out.
Let me see here.
Open. Okay, let me see. No.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Yep. Good.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. It sounds like a massive undertaking and a lot of hard work. And I'm sure, I know when WMU went virtual, we had not been doing online for 10 years. So it's nice that you had that foundation somewhat developed already, but it sounds like it went well beyond that. So thank you. And yes, I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. So with that, we will move on to our last presentation. And the title of this is Sustainability in Junior Enterprises. Again, Iscte Business School. And we will have Tomas Santos presenting.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So I hope everyone is doing fine. Just to give a little thank you to all the presentations that were before. I'm the last one, so I hope I'm not the least important. So I will start my presentation. I will, let me just give me, all right. Okay. Can I? Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm having some trouble showing the content. Let me
No
just
problem.
give the permissions.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I might have to leave the session just for a small moment so the authorization can proceed. Okay.
Sure, no
I'll
problem.
be right back.
Okay.
Okay, can you just confirm that you're seeing my presentation?
Yep, we can see it.
All right, perfect. Let me just turn on my video. Okay, perfect. So, just to start, my name is Tomás Santos. I'm the Management and Quality Director of Iscte Junior Consulting. Alongside the role of Management and Quality Director, I am also responsible for the areas of sustainability and social responsibility. So basically, Iscte Junior Consulting is the junior enterprise of Iscte. And what is a junior enterprise? One of the rules to be a junior enterprise is that we can only be formed and managed by students that can be studying in a bachelor's degree or even a master's degree. So just for you to know, in terms of dimension, in Europe, there are more than 370 junior enterprises, and worldwide, there are more than 1,500 junior enterprises spread all over the world. We have a confederation in the United States of America. We have another one in Brazil, in Argentina. So basically, there's a lot of junior enterprises worldwide, and this is the biggest movement of associativism that the students that are studying in college can be part of. The junior enterprise, the first junior enterprise, was created in 1967 in France. And just a curiosity, basically that small group of students were starting to make projects for other organizations, and the French government had to impose some limits in terms of invoicing, because they were getting more than 2 million euros yearly. So the French government had to impose some limits on that. And like I said in the beginning, they were just students. We are just students. There is no professional person managing us. So we are all students in Iscte in this case. So basically, like I said in the beginning, we are more than 370 junior enterprises in Europe, and last month Iscte Junior Consulting was recognized as the most promising junior enterprise in Europe. So this was the first European prize that Iscte Junior Consulting received in our 11 years of existence. So basically, and talking a little bit more about us, our mission is to be a platform of development for the best students of Iscte. We have 3 strategic vertices. So we have consultancy, so that is our core business. We do projects in the areas of IT, corporate social responsibility, HR, marketing, market studies, business strategies for our clients. Then we have the training sessions. So one of the main topics that we have is the training part. So we have lots of partners in Iscte Junior Consulting. For example, Deloitte, Michael Page, OutSystems. These are just 3 of our many partners. And then we have innovation. So basically, we see that innovation is a very important part of our mission for the future. So we want to be the change that we want to see in the world. And basically, we have, for example, a mobile app for our internal management. We have a platform that can help the boards to control the management of all our projects. And then our consultants are divided in 5 departments. So we have quality and management. This department is mine, is responsible for guarantee the management of our quality management system. So we are reaching the final steps of the certification ISO 9001. So this has come a long way. We have started working in obtaining this certification 3 years ago. Then we have human resources. So it's responsible for all the recruitment, all the evaluation of our consultants. We also have a career plan. Analytics, we were the first junior enterprise in Portugal to create an analytics department. Basically, analytics analyzes our recruitment, our social media. We also have market studies in terms of services for our clients. Marketing is responsible for all the communication. IT is responsible for our internal platforms. Basically, we have 53 active members. We have more than 300 alumni, and we also have a client satisfaction rating of 9.6 from 1 to 10. So in terms of sustainability, so around 2 years ago, we started to reunite all the practices that we had, and by doing some benchmarking, we started to put together our strategy. So basically, this is the main topics of our sustainability and social responsibility strategy. The strategy has 3 main pillars, which are environmental responsibility, social causes, and education. And these pillars are impacted with our 6 areas of action. So we have events. So we have lots of events that are their core are related to sustainability and social responsibility. We have projects. I'm going to say this next, but basically we have a pro bono call for each semester since 2016 services. So we were the first junior enterprise in Portugal to offer corporate social responsibility services. We have partnerships, so partnerships plays a very important role in terms of the development of our organization. So we have a partnerships with our university, with Iscte Business School. We have some, like I said, with Deloitte, Michael Page, OutSystems, the Navigator company, and then we have communications. So we make sure that there is a rubric that goes out to our stakeholders and that presents some news about the area of sustainability. And then, of course, we have certification and processes. So by guaranteeing that our quality management system is going on very, very well in terms of monitoring, in terms of the efficiency of the processes, we make sure that they are sustainable. And one of the main outputs of our strategy is the way we impact the SDGs. So we have 4 core SDGs that are impacted directly through our strategic vertices in our core business: quality education, decent work and economic growth, reduced inequalities, and partnerships for the goals. And then we have the complementary that are impacted also, but not through our core business, not through our strategic vertices, but for example, for our events. So we have gender equality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, and peace, justice, and strong institutions. So in 2021, we closed 23 partnerships in the scope of social responsibility. For example, with the SDG Portugal Alliance, one of the most important organizations in the area, and also with WeFood, to which we deliver the food waste of our internal activities. For example, this last weekend we had an event, Lean to Grow, and there were more than 300 meals delivered to this organization. So this way we avoided wasting that amount of food, and that food went to the people who needed the most. We received 35 training sessions from our partners. Like I said, Deloitte, and we gave more than 30 training sessions, for example, to NGOs, to other junior enterprises, to other junior initiatives, and this way we ensure a quality education for our consultants and impact and added value to the organizations that we support. In terms of the projects, so our core business is consultancy management projects. So last year, our consultants worked more than 1,200 hours only in pro bono projects. We made two big projects for Comunidade Vida e Paz e Fundação O Século. In terms of events, we had 6 events having a special focus on sustainability, for example, Sustainability Week, the Solidarity Run, and also in our core, and this is a very natural thing in our organization, we guarantee the gender equality. We have a very balanced percentage of female and male consultants in our organization. So in terms of our strategy, one of the main goals of our strategy is to raise internal awareness of the impact that each consultant can have in the different spheres where he or she is present, such as society, the academy, and in the future, the labor market. So this way we promote several initiatives and actions to foster a sustainable mindset. For example, we have the career plan, we have a gamification, we have a benefits plan, internal volunteer activities, we have a green corner in the office. So, for example, all the material that IJC receives from our partners, from events that we are present, we make sure that, for example, pens, notebooks that are they are all reunited and put together in the green corner. So our consultants can take one and not having to buy one to write, for example. Also, it's certain of our ambition to promote a sustainable mindset in society. We created Sustainability Week. So together with the events partners, we made cash and product donations to various organizations, allowing the event to impact and to promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, to reduce inequalities, to fight anger and poverty. And we also made available different talks, for example, sustainable finance with the biggest bank in Portugal, Caixa Geral de Depósitos. And this allowed all the participants to raise awareness about a sustainable way of living. Also, in order to have a direct impact on one of our main stakeholders, the Iscte student community, we work directly with the Sustainability Office of Iscte Business School under the motto Together for Sustainability, creating various initiatives and coordinating the positive impact rating, which distinguishes the work of business schools worldwide in the area of sustainability. In terms of projects, so we want to ensure that all the work done at Iscte Consulting it positively affects society and is done in a sustainable way. Last year, we developed an expansion strategy for O Século Foundation, making the foundation increase its sphere of influence to the entire Lisbon population. In addition, we also developed another pro bono project for the Comunidade Vida e Paz, creating a performance evaluation and training system for the organization's more than 150 employees. And this way we generate even more impact. So a strategy is nothing without the medium and long-term view. So we already started to define some next steps. So by the end of this year, we will publish our annual sustainability report. And this will be very important in terms of monitoring our strategy of, like I said, the strategy and of sustainability and social responsibility. We will have some testimonials from our stakeholders, from Iscte Business School, surely. For example, we have our also the social responsibility certifications, for example, ISO 26000 and SA 8000. We also had, or we already had, the 3rd edition of Sustainability Week, and right now we are developing a social project for Caritas. We are developing an internal storage and management platform for this organization. So, and just to be over, basically, this is who we are. We are a group of students. We make projects for organizations that needs us. For example, when the COVID started to impact, we launched a campaign, Back on Business. So we made several pro bono projects to help organizations to recover from the COVID bad phase. So yes, basically we are the most promising junior enterprise in Europe. Last year in Portugal, we received the awards of Junior Enterprise of the Year, Project of the Year, and also Junior Enterprise, the most innovative junior enterprise. So yeah, I don't know if you have any questions. Maybe this was the first time that you were aware of the concept of junior enterprise, of junior entrepreneurs. But I can say that I'm proud to be a junior entrepreneur. I'm proud to be, of course, Iscte Junior Consulting, and always looking for the impact that we want to see in the world. So yeah, that's it. This is my presentation. I hope you've liked it. Okay.
Thank you. Just a note that although you were last, you were certainly not the least.
Yes.
And also from the sounds of it, you are also not just students, as you had referred to the group as being just students. It sounds like you are making a huge impact and should be very proud of the work that you're doing. Yes. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you all to everyone who presented this morning, this afternoon, this evening. Now we're going to move on to the question and answer and global networking portion of the conference, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up. So allow me to share my screen here real quick.
And while Annette shares the screen, I'd add that this is so also a good time for all of us to probably get our cameras on and get and share questions on the chat, or just unmute yourselves or raise your hand on the lower menu bar of WebEx. But while you all do that, I like to say that it was really interesting to see all these projects. There are many projects that, for instance, from some of the projects that I just remembered from Diana's presentation about UNIBE, that, for instance, are very connected with some of the things we also do at Western. This last project that Tomas talked about from Iscte, we have somewhat similar, probably complementary activities in our business school, or initiatives in our business school at Western. And I cannot avoid thinking that it would be great to connect these partnerships, what we heard about here from each other. If we think that there are things that we do that are similar or complementary to the projects that we presented about, I think it would be great to connect those projects between our universities, maybe with another GPS session, another global partnership showcase session. hosted by Western that can bring these specific or some specific projects together for the participants in those and the leaders in those projects to meet virtually and to talk about how they could collaborate. But there's it seems that as from Western Michigan's perspective, we see some of the things that you do that we've also done, or similarly, or somewhat connected. I'm sure that you saw the same or are thinking the same about what other universities and Western presented as well. So definitely a lot here for future collaboration. And it's really exciting to have this first Global Leadership Conference and to think that the students, the 4 students from the Global Leadership Program you saw earlier here today are to some extent the reason or who triggered all of this and that led us to this conference 4 years later. So also a big shout out for them. And Annette, maybe we can get everyone on the screen again.
Sure.
And ask for more people to share their cameras. I think that might make it easier. There's Gloria, who I hadn't seen in a long while. Last time we saw each other was one of my last trips before the pandemic in Santo Domingo.
Yes, and if there are any questions, feel free, you can put them in the chat. I will monitor the chat. Or if you want to raise your hand or unmute yourself.
We'll kind of cross over a little bit to the networking part, and there's just on a side chat here earlier with Diana from Iscte, and we're thinking that perhaps, and I'm thinking that the other institutions here, perhaps we could think of doing this kind of event with showcasing collaborations and even specific collaborations between our universities, because we all have ongoing collaborations with each of you for International Education Week in November. That could be good timing for us to do another partnership showcase.
And we'll also be, actually, I will share one more screen just briefly, because we would also like to continue the conversation and to continue collaborating, and we want to invite you to join the LinkedIn group that we created for this conference. And so I will share it here, but we'll also follow up with additional information on how to join the LinkedIn group. All right, we didn't go to the right slide here. And I have just a few comments on that. One, we are very grateful to all of our partners and presenters who participated in today's Global Leadership Conference as part of the Global Partner Showcase Initiative. This is the first conference that we've had, but we hope for this to be an annual platform for all of our students faculty, and administrators to showcase their project, discuss new ideas, and network across the globe. This year we've created a LinkedIn group called the Global Leadership Conference Global Partnership Showcase, and we'd like you to join that group. Introduce yourself, talk about some connections that you might want to make, and get to know each other a little bit more if you don't already know each other anyway. And so I will be sharing that link here in the chat, and I'll stop sharing so we can go back to seeing everybody. And again, if you've got questions, feel free to pop those in the chat. Otherwise, I will share this link.
And invite some of the participants of the programs you featured here to also join this LinkedIn page, that this LinkedIn group that Annette just posted here on the chat, because that could be also a great way for getting people in touch, and then later on develop some collaborations. And while I have Brianne here, I can't help asking. So how was working on this project with the students, and what do you think can be the future of this project, and how could they, for instance, connect with our partner institutions here featured today, or how we can connect through, obviously, these students will be graduating soon, but this is a project that, for instance, can be furthered by other cohorts of students in the same program, or other programs, or even other programs of the College of Education, for instance. How do you see we could, for instance, connect this with some partnerships abroad to make this directly? I mean, these are all global global issues and can easily be connected with other classrooms.
Well, it was such a pleasure to get to hear others' presentations today and to get to see other universities and students. So thank you for the connections. In terms of the Bitmoji Classrooms, some things that I heard from the educators we were able to share it with were that they would love to see contributions of multiple universities and students and experiences internationally. Of course, we'd love additional resources and experiences, but also to make sure that we are not presenting any single story from a country or a community. And so we'd love to get it out more. So I'd invite these partner schools, please feel welcome to share our link and give us critical feedback. But also, Paulo, through the students that we were able to interview in the university, many of them themselves are educators. And so we had the opportunity to interview students who were TESOL, or teachers of a second language, graduate students and PhD students who are doing research in their home countries and here in the United States. And many of them spoke about how they wished they had a resource such as this to bring to their students. And so I think that there was a number of different layers of complexity in terms of the potential for this project. Many of our teachers that we shared it with, both at Kalamazoo schools, but also I shared it at a Midwestern conference before it was finished, but just to say, you know, initial feedback. And teachers said they'd love to have their students make international partners so that their children in the classroom could interview students abroad and vice versa. So what we saw is just the growing of that global connection. And we know we're preparing students for a world that will be even more connected than we all are on Zoom today. So I think that there's many possibilities, and certainly if any of the partners here would like to continue to explore that with me and the students who are graduating and or future cohorts, we'd be grateful. So thank you.
And thank you so much for working with this program and with our students. We've heard amazing feedback regarding your interactions, and the students absolutely enjoyed working with you, and your guidance was essential to the success of the program.
Well, thank you so much. And meeting them and hearing all of their experiences has been phenomenal. They really are incredible individuals. So